Hello, this is Marco from Wheezy.io. Did you know you can set multiple reviewers for a workflow step? In this tutorial, I'll show you how easy this is to set up. The email addresses that we'll be adding are Marco@Wheezy.io, Meher@Wheezy.io, and Hannah@Wheezy.io. I have a worksheet open with a Form Workflow Plus sidebar loaded on the right-hand side. There's one request waiting for approval. Later on, I'll explain the significance of this. Now, to edit the workflow settings, let's deactivate the workflow by toggling this button off. Click the Setup and Activate Workflow button to open the Setup menu. Under the Basic Setup tab, click on the Edit button on the Setup Approval Steps and Reviewers section. For this demo, we have a one-step approval process. To add more reviewer email addresses, click on the pencil icon on the right-hand side. To add more reviewers for this step, click on the pencil icon on the right-hand side. We simply type in the email address or email addresses of the additional reviewers. Don't forget to press the Enter key on your keyboard after each email address. Remember, you can add as many reviewers as required on each step. Once done, click the Save button on the lower right-hand corner. This means all these three email addresses would receive an approval notification when a request is submitted. Once one of them sets a decision, such as approve, decline, or send back to the requester, the request is closed off to the other two to make sure there's only one decision for this particular step. Remember the waiting for approval request I've pointed out earlier? Let's go back to the step list. These changes would not apply to any pending request. Once saved, the new workflow settings would apply to succeeding requests. Also, when there's a pending request, a workflow creator can only modify the reviewer email address or addresses and conditional approvals. Adding a step is locked to avoid workflow errors. If you wish to add steps, make sure pending requests are deleted via the web app, or link the Google form to a new sheet and set up your workflow there. Alright, we're done with the changes. Click on Back to Setup and save and activate the workflow. Note that whenever you set an email address as a reviewer, this is automatically granted edit permissions on the Google Sheet. This is to make sure the add-on can properly update the reviewer action on each step. As you can see, Meher and Hannah are both granted edit permissions on the sheet. If your reviewers are only granted view permissions on the sheet, the request status would remain as waiting for approval. If it's absolutely necessary for your reviewers to only have viewer permissions on the sheet, you can still track the request status by going into the web app. Click on this link here and look for the workflow name on your Manage Workflows view. What I'm showing here is the same request. If you have a multi-step workflow, you can track the request's current step and status via these columns. Again, it's still recommended that your reviewers are granted edit permission on the worksheet for easy request tracking. Thank you for joining me in this tutorial. It's easy to add multiple reviewers on an approval step on Form Workflow Plus. This is Marco from Wheezy.io. Please stay tuned for future video tutorials. Until next time, goodbye!